So this morning, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about kind of where I'm at with the Enneagram. A few days ago, a commenter on one of my older videos, RPAA Forever, hi, by the way, mentioned that I had like a different kind of energy and was curious what my Enneagram type was, and I only had a minimal experience with Enneagram before. I typed as a 2-wing 3, but it did seem out of sorts a little bit at the time. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. I mean, I was definitely still deep in MBTI and exploring INFP type, and um, still going through that self-discovery process. But she had, I believe, asked if I was a 9. I was like, well, that's interesting. If someone like sees something in yourself, it's just naturally going to pique your interest. And I was like, well, let me just double check, because I even forget where I took the original Enneagram test, but it was kind of like one of the lesser known, kind of off the beaten path sites. So maybe it wasn't even that great of a test, or what I mean, modeled or whatever. But so as I went to Truity, and I know Truity has some. Well, their testing is probably solid. I mean, I think they're one of the more reputable typing sites out there. So, anyways, I took it at Truity, and definitely just cleared my mind and tried to be as honest with myself as possible, all that good stuff, and not try and answer the question in some sort of idyllic way. I'm talking about. So, anyways, it came back as 98% 9. 93% 4, 87% 2, and 7 was up there as well. But so started looking at type 9, read some different articles on the 9 personality type and Enneagram, etc., and definitely resonated quite a bit. I was like, yeah, must be a 9. If RBAA Forever was kind of saw it in me and everything I was reading, and I was looking at, sometimes this could be kind of helpful, even though it's not hard. But like the sketch videos, everyone has the sketch videos, kind of comedic sketch videos, and the 9 definitely resonated. But that's the thing, like 4 did too. So, anyways, I'm still in this exploration phase of Enneagram. It is interesting. In some ways, I think type 9 maybe just describes me a little bit better than INFP, which is kind of strange. But anyways, I mean, this one article I found, because my next step was to figure out, what wing I am. And so I was looking at different articles, and this article by Drenth, I believe is his name. AJ Drenth, yeah, he's one of the founders of Personality Junkie, and there's some heavy hitters on Personality Junkie as well, obviously. But just wanted to kind of read some of the bits here because it's like really good. So, Enneagram Type 9, 9-wing 1, 9-wing 8, insights for INFP and the other types here. In their book Personality Types, Don Rizzo and Russ Hudson describe the Enneagram Type 9 as the peacemaker. For some 9s, this moniker may seem a bit off the mark if we think of peacemaking as an active interpersonal endeavor, which is true. Indeed, I suspect many 9s would feel uncomfortable if they were asked to step in and directly resolve a conflict situation. And I think 9s would definitely agree with that. If there was, because we are conflict averse, 9s and INFPs, so totally makes a lot of sense. The reason 9s may struggle with external peacemaking is their foremost concern, according to Rizzo and Hudson, is the preservation of inner peace. The procurement of external peace is thus of secondary importance, or perhaps more of a means to an end for this type. all told, it may be more accurate to describe nines as peace lovers rather than peacemakers. And I think that's true. It's like with me, 2020 I think was especially hard for INFPs and nines and all similar types, just because the peace of day-to-day living was disrupted. Like the menace of this virus, other things in 2020. I think we all felt that anxiety, and it is. It's probably right. It probably has to do with that that love of peace internally, and maybe secondarily externally. And it kind of manifested itself in me, especially like with, again, just use 2020 as an example, like coronavirus, for example. I just kind of like tuned out after a while. Like I just almost stopped completely my social media consumption to this day, really. Like I took many more walks in the nearby parks, which, as you can see I got a few on my channel. I think we definitely do whatever we can to protect that inner peace. And if it just means stop consuming news and things like that, we have no problem doing that. But let me continue. So Riso and Hudson also highlight the nine's experience of and desire for the feeling of oneness. The inner landscape of the nine resembles someone riding a bicycle on a beautiful day, enjoying everything about the flow of the experience. The whole picture, the entire situation, is what is pleasant and identified with, rather than any particular part. The inner world of the nine is this experience of oneness. I think he kind of nailed it there. Just absence of conflict, kind of absorbing the oneness of surroundings, harmony with nature and others. I think oneness just is kind of one word that just really does kind of encapsulate, maybe a type 9's interior. So 9's concern for inner peace and oneness is to some extent at odds with the incessant search for self we find in Enneagram Type 4, which I also resonate with a lot, and I'm sure other INFPs and Type 9s do as well. And I think a lot of Type 4s also resonate with Type 9. As mystics have long recognized, the oneness cannot be achieved if the self and its identification continue to inhabit the center stage of consciousness. The distinction between the Type 9 and Type 4 is an interesting one, especially when we consider data indicating that the INFP is equally likely to test as either of these personality types. Right, exactly. The INFJ may also test as either type, but as we will see, for the INFJ to fit the bill as a 9 may require some creative tweaks to Rizzo and Hudson's portrait. So for INFPs and ISFPs, Drenth says that the value is placed on external peace primarily as a means of achieving or enhancing inner peace, and then for INFJs and ISFJs, it's the interpersonal peace and consensus as a primary value. So we just like peace in the world, which allows inner peace. Like if there's conflict and strife and tribulation in the world around us, it's almost impossible for 9s and INFPs to have inner peace. But INFJs and ISFJs, I think, are in their happy spot when there's interpersonal peace among fellow friends and family, etc. And there was another bit. Where did I? Yeah. So I did read through all of this of the subtypes, and honestly, I'm not for sure which subtype I am. I kind of see a little bit of myself in the type 8 and type 1. I'm not going to go through it here, because I'm sure just me reading a post is dry enough as it is. So I'm just going to leave it there. But I did think some of the bits kind of need to be called out, because I was reading this. I was like, wow, this is fascinating. So anyways, we'll see how things go. I really kind of want to nail down what wing I am as much as possible, and that's the thing. That's the thing I was going to mention is trying to reconcile INFP with Enneagram is really crazy. Because let me finish with one bit. Yeah, because I think one bit, the INFP. Where was it? Yeah. So let me just read this, because right here is what I kind of agree with as well. In light of the above, the ISFP seems the most likely of the Myers-Briggs types to self-identify as a 9. While INFPs are also strong candidates, they often display marked 4 tendencies as well, which may result in a sort of type ambivalence with respect to the Enneagram, which I can kind of relate to. Yes and no. I mean, I do think 9 is probably a bit of a clear winner over 4, but I totally understand this, because reading about 4 and their kind of desire for uniqueness kind of thing, and just kind of like to walk off the beaten path kind of thing. I mean, I definitely resonate with that as well. But yeah, I mean, it can be all kind of confusing. I mean, it also goes into the let me just mention this. So this guy here, which by the way,
joining me today, my name is Dr. Tom LaHue. This is
totally recommend. He is this whole thing with the 100-acre wood. Look up this video for type 9s, or anyone interested in type 9s. He talks about the 100-acre wood, which was like the space that Winnie the Pooh inhabits. It was and how type 9s definitely inhabit the 100-acre wood in our minds, for sure. Like, it's a place of comfort and all this kind of stuff. And anyways, 100% recommend this video. It was very good. But let me just go and leave it there, and I'll update again soon with more Enneagram goodness. But till then, peace out.